detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for joining us. Bringing in a bit of Don the Dragon Wilson tonight, Jared. We were looking for a way to get him in. We decided to get him in with Terminal Rush.
Yeah, you decided on what?
Yeah,
Possibly.
yeah. Well,
you start low.
I start. Yeah, no, it can only go high.
Yeah,
like in my opinion, Don can only get better, right? So we'll watch Terminal Rush, which, the only reason I found it is because I was looking back through our Die Hard ripoffs, and there it was, and I thought, oh, maybe it's on YouTube. Bugger me, it was. So, Terminal Rush coming up. Quickly, a bit of news, though, Jared. There's a Netflix movie filming in our backyard. Very much in my backyard. It's fucking right down the street from me.
Yep.
At Ginninderra Falls. They're shooting the survival thriller Apex.
Did you wander down there and just see if Charlize was
No, I did not.
on lunch or something?
Allegedly, Charlize has been seen at the Tuggeranong Hyperdome. She's the only one. I haven't run into Eric Banner.
Seen the worst of Canberra.
Yeah, exactly. She wants to go home now. I haven't seen Eric Banner getting a drink at Woolies Kipax.
No.
So,
No.
I'm hoping to. Yeah, they're filming down the road.
What do you do? What do you do if you see Banner there? What do you say?
There's no fucking cash here.
No cash here, John. Look at me, mate. I'm fucking flying. I'm flying, mate.
Yeah, stand in front of you and go, I'm fucking flying, mate. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, hopefully, if only you kind of catch him in the freezer section, you can start making jokes about frozen cash.
Yeah, and how long's this shit going to fucking take to thaw out?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, look, it's interesting to see it. And Canberra's buzzing currently. The Canberra film industry is buzzing.
They're only going to be here for a brief time, though.
3 weeks.
They're really using the natural environment for a couple of scenes.
Yes, 3 weeks, they said. They're also filming around, like, Blue Mountains and small towns outside of Canberra and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, it's kind of cool that it's a major film with some major actors, not just a...
Well, let's hold. You did say a Netflix
It's a Netflix film, yeah. Fuck, what am I saying? What am I saying? Shit. All right. What have you been watching, Jared?
Well, funnily enough, bit of a connection with our mate Roddy Piper in this movie.
Oh.
I've been back on the WWE.
Yeah.
Ever since it came on Netflix and you can get Raw and SmackDown, I'm right back in there. So that actually took up quite a bit of my time. Royal Rumbles and all sorts of shit going on. So after that, I kicked things off with just don't laugh. It's an Italian Death Wish knockoff with Franco Nero called Street Law.
Street Law.
Which was all right. It had its moments. I think the best part about it is that he kind of forges a bit of a friendship with one of these kind of low-level guys that's he kind of tries to play him to get some information, but then forges a bit of a friendship with him while he's trying to get to the guys he's looking to have revenge upon.
Mm-hmm.
But it was okay. Wasn't too bad. Gary Daniels. I watched a Gary Daniels picture called Spoiler.
Spoiler.
The reason I watched it
is the spoiler that it's bad?
The reason I watched it is because it came out with like a futuristic sort of plot, a la that silly one we watched with Dolph when he demoted Daniels on the day that filming started.
Yeah, he said, no, not you.
At the moment. So, what was that called? Retrograde.
Retrograde. I think it was actually just called low grade. Sorry.
Yeah. The premise of Spoiler is that Daniels is a guy who gets some prison time, but you get put away. It's kind of like had a Demolition Man sort of vibe. You get fucking frozen.
Okay.
So then he wakes up and a few years have passed and he's a spoiler is someone who's adept at fucking busting out of these prisons. So initially it started off all right.
You were initially rubbing your hands together.
Early on, I'm thinking this is not bad. This could go somewhere.
Gary Daniels could be back on deck.
Yeah, but comparing it to Retrograde, it was also cheap, but it did much better with the effects.
Yes.
Like instead of trying to up the bloody the futuristic elements like the spaceship and stuff, it just had like these darkened rooms with him on the table while he's getting fucking injections while he's being frozen and shit. And I'm looking at it going, this is what fucking Retrograde should have done. But they didn't. Unfortunately, it's sort of, it just meanders and loses its way a little bit.
How scary is a thespian? Because you were pretty fucking down on his thespian skills last time.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never said anything about his acting skills or John the Dragon Wilson or anybody else of that nature. That's had fought in tournaments and things like that.
Yeah, or anyone who's into fucking fighting of any kind.
No, it wasn't me. No, look, Gary is not. It's not his strong point. It's not. It's not what you get him in there for.
Standing in front of the camera is not his strong point.
No.
But he's making movies. Jared, you shouldn't be allowed to make things that you can't do.
No, I think if you're going to do this, you've got to have the understanding of what the strengths are, and if you do that, then guys like Gary Daniels are perfectly fine.
Correct. You've got to use his strengths,
yes,
which are his fighting ability.
Which this probably didn't do, but I think it
more
was
so
better
than
anyway
Retrograde,
because
though?
it was more so than Retrograde for sure.
Yeah.
But it just looked a little bit better. As I said, it's probably equally as cheap, but it looked a little bit better. Even when they brought the effects in, they looked all right. And they got actors like Meg Foster and Jeffrey Combs to come in for
people who can
10
act
minutes
a little
each,
bit.
So yeah, just take the focus off Gary for a little bit until he gets into his what he's there for.
Man, it's like a fucking magician
yes,
throwing down a fucking smoke bomb. Occasionally we'll throw one down in front of Gary.
Well, I mean, if you're describing his acting, he's throwing it down, and then when it dissipates, he's still there. Like it's sort of. But I've got an appreciation for the man. It just needs to be.
I love
and
you, Gary.
we've spoken about this at length with Dolph. Also, if Dolph's listening,
yeah, Dolph.
That was Adam that watched those 4 movies and said they were all shit. It wasn't me.
I didn't say they were all shit. I said Missionary Man was all right.
Yeah, all right.
Dolph, hey, Dolph, don't be fucking, You've done better stuff. You're bigger than this.
Yeah. It's constructive criticism, Dolph. I found the Killers game on. That was on Prime.
Oh, is that
on Prime?
Batista?
Yeah.
Better range.
Better actor than The Rock. No, he's actually this one. He's kind of just going through the motions a little bit. I think it's a good setup, and it gets some solid players involved to get the job done. So it was entertaining enough.
Okay.
Essentially, he's a hitman who's crook. So but he doesn't want to go through. So he puts a hit out on himself to make sure it's clean and just kill me.
But then it turns out he's not crook.
Well,
how this works?
you fuck. Jesus, Adam.
Well, I'm guessing
you've worked your way through.
I don't know anything about it.
No,
but I'm going to assume that's
exactly
the twist.
that's exactly how.
That he's not crook.
But then you get. So, some of the killers are, you get a few random ones in there. They take a kind of approach of something like a Bullet Train where they get a couple that are a little quirky and whatnot. But then you get, my favourites were probably Scott Adkins and Drew McIntyre as this pair of Scottish brothers that are fucking on the piss when they get the hit and stuff like that. And then Terry Crews is one of them who has a kind of previous relationship with him. And Ben Kingsley is also in there.
Ben Kingsley?
Yeah, so.
Gandhi?
Yeah.
Become a hitman.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's, look, not great, but it was fun.
Okay.
Just a fun actioner.
That's good.
I went back to Electric Boogaloo, story of Canon Films.
Obviously, I thought you were going to say Breakdance too.
No. I
would have loved that too. I'm pretty happy.
Old mate that was in that, what was his name? Shabadoo.
He
thinks he fucking changed the world with
yeah. Have you watched it any time recently, mate? Shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Electric Boogaloo. I really enjoyed that dog.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I don't like it as much as Not Quite Hollywood.
No.
And I think the difference is the sort of fast pace through all the interviews, like how they sort of collect everything together and they'll talk about a movie and then it'll just be bang, bang, bang through each person's comments of the movies. There was some stuff in there where I think you could have stretched the doco another half hour and just kept talking to these people.
We only saw Dolph like twice in that entire doco.
So I think my letdown with it is I wish there was just more of what they were talking about. And I'm planning on, I'm circling a couple of books about Canon pictures, so I thought I'd jump in with that. I'm up to my ass in Bronson and Chuck for the previous couple of months. So I thought it was time to dip back into the.
Honestly, that's like a fucking abusive relationship. Honestly.
It is.
Deary me.
And so on the back of that, I jumped onto Alan Quatermain in the City of Gold.
Is that the sequel?
It's the sequel.
Not as good, I believe.
Not
a
as
little bit
good.
cheaper.
Yeah, it's look, it's got its. You could see if you were a kid watching this and you like loved Indiana Jones, you would watch this and you'd be like, oh, it's all right. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And I forgot Elvira was in it.
Oh.
So I
Wasn't
actually
she the villain?
I believe she's one of them. Yeah. So I had to pull the pin because something was going on with Tubi around the Super Bowl. I think they put all their resources into the Super Bowl, so you couldn't fucking watch a movie while the Super Bowl was on. You kept clicking on things and it'd say Tubi's this is down while the Super Bowl's on. We'll be back later. So
that seems weird.
Yeah, that was a little strange. I didn't get to finish it. The one that I did finish which the last thing I watched was called Savage Dawn, which is it's a Lance Henriksen vehicle where he kind of rolls into a small town that then is taken over by a bunch of rejects from Mad Max, led by William Forsythe.
I believe those guys commonly roam around small towns and fuck everything up.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like,
but that's not a bad.
This is like
cast.
a dusty desert town. Yeah, well,
Hendrickson, Forsythe,
yeah, Hendrickson, Richard Lynch is in it. Karen Black's in it.
Okay, so it's not a bad little cast.
And George Kennedy.
Kennedy.
As much as George Kennedy is a good actor, every time I expect him to kind of pull out his handkerchief and wipe his brow and just like, Frank, what are you doing?
Frank Drebin's making his life difficult.
So, but it was all right. It was okay. Like it's fucking like don't expect much plot.
No.
And I believe Lance Henriksen fucking hates it. But
that's never a fucking great endorsement for anything.
Lance, I didn't mind it.
Lance Henriksen hates it. He's been in some absolute shit,
I know,
too.
he's been in some absolute shockers. I think it might have been on Joe Bob. I only saw it in like a transcript. I haven't actually seen it, but it sounds like it was from an interview. And he said, "Have you made any movies that you
didn't like?
You wish you don't tell people that you're in?" And he goes, "Yeah, fucking Savage Dawn or something like that." So. But
okay.
it was a little bit of cheesy schlock that was a bit of fun.
That was everything?
That was it.
Okay, I only watched 3 movies. Again, Jared, I was going down the drama route, and I seemed to connect up with movies about people walking everywhere, which was a bit of a bit strange.
Is that your preferred subgenre? Like mine is teachers who have a background in special forces.
I'm into guys walking fucking thousands of miles.
Good.
So the first one I watched is Adrift, which is a true story. All 3 of them are true stories too, mind you. A true story about a couple that is taking this boat from, I can't remember where, maybe Peru or Brazil or something, to San Diego, and they get caught in a hurricane, and their ship is fucking stuffed, and it basically is the survival of them over a lengthy period. It's very slow.
I was hoping for a moment you were going to say, under the cover of the hurricane, a group of bandits had come to rob the town.
Exactly. Yeah, a group of guys wearing fucking shoulder pads and mohawks.
Yeah.
No,
I would have watched it.
It's a bit slow, and it doesn't use. It's not like linear, so it jumps back and forth using flashbacks, which at times works okay, at other times doesn't. There's a really good performance by is her name Charlene Woodley. She's fucking excellent in the main role, but it's just a bit sluggish for my liking. And then I got onto one called Joe Bell, which has got Mark Wahlberg in it. And it's another true story. Joe Bell. Yeah, well, his son, he's 15 years old. He's gay. He's getting bullied at school. He ends up committing suicide. And his dad decides to walk from Oklahoma to New York because that's where his son wanted to go. And then talk to everybody along the way about bullying and what happened to his son. It was actually
Is this the role for Wahlberg?
he's quite good in it. It works, plays to his strengths because he's it's sort of like a Joe Bell was sort of like a tough, no nonsense type of guy who what I did like about it was they didn't shy away from the fact that it almost indicates a little bit that he didn't support his son.
Mm.
And so he kind of saw that as I was part of the fucking problem. It was pretty good.
Because let me tell you, Adam, Mel's already been boycotted.
Yeah.
Wahlberg's
Mark's
close.
on
He's on thin ice.
Mark's on the thin ice.
Yeah.
Due to his fucking hairdo.
Which is a big step for me, considering I haven't boycotted Dolph
Lundgren or fucking anyone else except Mel. It's not like what you'd call fast paced or anything like that, but it is a pretty decent story and it's told pretty well. And the last one, which I actually liked the most, and I sat down with the wife and daughter, and we were looking for something kind of that maybe everyone might be interested in.
Did you kind of throw out Savage Dawn?
Which I didn't get a chance to try out Savage Dawn, but it was interesting.
What about Spoiler?
Because
No?
not even I was
Not
interested in that. But it was called Wild, and it had Reese Witherspoon in it. And the reason why I picked it is because I know that my daughter and my wife sort of both like Reese Witherspoon, so I'm like, well, maybe we go down this route. It's more of a drama. It's a little bit darker, a little bit darker for Reese, but it was really good, and it showcased because I kind of said we'd watched another one of Reese's rom-coms the night before, and I was like, I don't get Reese Witherspoon. I was like, I just don't get it. Like, if I'm looking for a bubbly type of rom-com, Sandra Bullock's where I go. She's cut rate Sandra Bullock. And then so when we watched this, I was kind of like, yeah, well, she can actually act. Like, if I can,
you just had to get another crow out of the freezer.
It's
and
about
start,
no, but it's more
chucking it in the
about
oven.
it's more about the material she picks. She picks a
Yeah.
fair bit of shit, whereas this was really good.
She has done good.
She has
work
done good work,
previously.
yeah. But I think she more sticks to what's, pretty easy paycheck.
Oh, I can't say I've watched her rom-coms, Adam. I've steered very clear of that.
Well-
I think that since about the Notting Hill days, I've been.
Well, I'll put it this way. I really enjoyed Legally Blonde.
Yeah, it's
I've always
good.
liked Legally Blonde.
It's good.
But the one that we watched, it was just like, I remember just saying, like, this is just, it's the kind of movie where they force feed you this plot device that only could happen in Hollywood. You're just sitting there going, this is bullshit. Like, nothing, this would never happen, ever. And then they try and kind of dress it up as like romance, and it was garbage. I just remember thinking, I'm not sure I get Reese Witherspoon, but then I was put in my place pretty well. So I would tell people to check out Wild. It was actually really good. But that was it. And other than that, I've got tickets to Hard Eyes Friday night.
Good.
Valentine's Day, here we come. More people getting murdered at a fucking rapid rate. I'm sure my wife will be thinking about the romance.
Yeah. You're doing yourself dirty there. You find it amusing.
Yeah. No, she'll be all right. She'll be all right with that stuff. She loved My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
She fucking loved it.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. And here's the trailer for 1996's Terminal Rush.
A national monument is under siege. And the lifeline to the surrounding areas is threatened.
Well, the thing is, my friends and I have sort of taken over the dam.
Now these unwelcome guests have the power to destroy.
Well, our demands are simple. $25 million in cash.
But they didn't count on one man.
He's gonna try to get inside the dam.
Harper's a good cop. Knows this landscape like the back of his hand.
Terminal Rush.
I think we have an intruder.
Alone. He's up against a ruthless mercenary.
I've got everyone looking.
Driven by loyalty.
Hey!
And bound by honor. A forgotten hero rises with a vengeance.
exactly one more chance.
But one chance is all he needs. You have permission to use full force. The clock is ticking, and his options are running out. Unsure of who to trust, he must single-handedly disarm the terrorist threat. The action explodes. Terminal Rush, starring Roddy Piper and Don the Dragon Wilson. Time's up. Terminal Rush.
Terminal Rush from 1996, directed and produced by Damien Lee, who directed Abraxas, Guardian of the Universe. That is one that we should cover.
Mm.
It's written by Mark Sevi, who wrote Arachnid. It stars Don the Dragon Wilson as Jacob Harper, Michael Anderson Jr. as Harrison Decker, Rowdy Roddy Piper as Bartell, and Kate Greenhouse as Catherine. I could not find a budget or box office or trivia. I mean, this is done on Spuds and Burger, Jack. They don't even do trivia around here.
Yep.
All right. How did you feel about Terminal Rush, Jared?
Well, I mean, it's a curious selection, Adam, so I'm not sure how you came across it. I can say I saw the text message and you said, should we watch this? And I said, well, yeah. And then I kind of thought,
why?
Where did we pull Terminal Rush from? Out of the Dragons
I was
catalog.
going through my
You saw
Die Hard
Wilson,
ripoff section.
Piper, and said, this is it.
Admittedly, I was kind of like, what's Rowdy Roddy Piper been up to for, for 8 years? I'd like to see where he's at.
Music is one of those answers. But
that was fucking awful. Was that legitimate or was that a wrestling thing? Surely.
No, I think it was a legitimate. Just he released a single.
Rowdy.
I'm your man.
No, you're not. Not with that shit, you are.
You're not. So, yeah, I thought it was a curious selection. But, fuck, I'm open. It was in Tubi's action section, so that's always good enough for me. But
that's like a fucking red rag to a bull.
But, yeah, it's a shocker. It's really,
it's
really bad.
Whew.
The budget stings it in a lot of places, which is pretty clear. But I just don't understand if that's the case. Surely putting a world kickboxing champion in some hand-to-hand combat isn't expensive. That's not the expensive part.
No, you would have thought not.
So I don't know why they just don't do it.
But you could have also spent some time.
How long do you reckon he's in hand-to-hand work for? I reckon it's about
There's
less
two
than
fights.
5 minutes
Two
of the
fights.
movie.
Him and Piper, and there's him and another bloke.
Yeah.
That throw down a little bit.
Just briefly.
Maybe
and the
5
bar,
minutes.
The bar at the start.
Yeah, but that's not even that's just kind of punches thrown.
It's just there.
Really,
so it's a baffling choice when you don't use somebody like that. It's the same thing as we said with Gary Daniels in Retrograde. Like, why do you downgrade him if he's not going to get to do that? That's what he's there for, and that's what he can bring value to. So yeah, there's that. It takes the kind of skeleton of Die Hard almost to a T. Like it just has to tick the big boxes of how Die Hard went, but just with it's so dull. Like the fucking sets, everything is dull.
is this like how not to make Die Hard?
Yeah. At least Dolph thought to do it in a school. He didn't think, oh, we've got no budget. We'll go to Hoover Dam.
Do you know what? I fucking after watching this, I thought Detention was Die Hard.
Yeah, it's not good.
Like Detention looks so much better than this.
It's not the Dragon's fault. He doesn't get a chance
Not
to
really,
do a lot.
no.
He has to act a little bit, which same argument for Gary Daniels. It's not what he's there for. It should be kept to a minimum, and he's fucking kicking someone's ass. So
yeah.
I just always find that confusing when you get these guys. Someone's just like, oh yeah, they get a bit of a name. Oh yeah, we'll chuck this guy in the straight to he's making a bit of a name in the straight to video, so we'll just throw him in the action movie. But his lane is hand to hand action.
Is it like they feel almost like I don't know, like they're trying that they've got bigger aspirations or something? Because it's an action film.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, seeing people punch the shit out of each other, that's
yeah, and
action movie material.
And there's still space to have a gun in there.
Yeah.
Like you still have a bit of a shootout and whatever, but it just it just baffles me that you don't use that strength. The guy is a fucking world champion kickboxer, for fuck's sake.
So what'd you give it?
I gave it a 1.
Yeah, I gave it a 1 too. Actually, no.
It was lucky to get
I gave it half.
You gave it half. Okay.
Like
We've talked it over. It's a half.
The more I think about it, this is as low as we've gone, I reckon.
Yeah, it's not
It
great.
just looks really shitty. Admittedly, I watched it on YouTube, so it wasn't a great transfer or anything. So you couldn't that kind of scuzzy look that they get on YouTube when they've been added.
It's like authenticated. It's like you've picked up the VHS.
Exactly. Back at my house, though, it was like fucking bang. You have to bang on the top of the fucking thing to get it to work.
Yeah.
But there's some baffling stuff in this. The editing is fucking awful. They constantly edit away in the middle of a fight.
Yep.
They edit to something that nobody needed to see. Like, there's no fucking point for that.
Yep, I agree.
And then they come back and the punches have already landed.
Yeah.
The acting is just shit. The villain is awful.
Yeah.
Even there, I've got a lot to say about their demands, which I thought were fucking ludicrous.
Okay. Good.
But half a star, I think, is generous on that.
Yes.
It's probably one of the worst.
It's down there.
Of the movies we've watched in general, but it's easily one of the worst Die Hard rip-offs there is.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. And Die Hard probably could have sued these because it was so close in terms of its setup and what happens and how he gets about and all that shit.
Yeah.
It was all very similar. Yeah, I struggled with it. Look, I've actually got a couple of likes.
Yeah, so
I think that's... I mean, to give it half a star, I've got like 4 or 5 likes. That's probably... People would say, but how?
Yeah.
But these dislikes come thick and fast.
Small. They're just a small portion of likes.
Don can kick ass.
Yeah,
When he gets going, he can do
I
it.
believe that if he hears this and turned up on my doorstep, I'd be in a world of hurt.
I'd be saying I have nothing to do with this podcast. Never. I am not affiliated with this shit. I would never slag you off, Don.
And then he finds the Terminal Rush DVD cover sitting on your couch and he's like, oh, fuck.
Fuck. I was getting ready to watch it, Don. I heard it was good.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
think
Like, I actually think when you finally cut him loose, he shows what he can do.
Yeah, very briefly.
But unfortunately, the choreography's pretty bad, so it doesn't.
Yeah, it's the shooting of it all is not high.
So it undercuts
quality.
him just a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's still decent to watch.
Yeah.
Now, Jared, there are a number of lovely flyover shots of the Hoover Dam. Now, I don't know if they've been taken
Stock
from
footage?
promotional videos or other
think they
things.
were.
I think they have, but
I
it's still...
suspect they were.
Still.
Because everything else is very tight on a little, security cabin or very tight on a rock face.
Yes.
Or, you know.
So I think they've taken them somewhere, but it's good to have them to add a little bit of size and scale of the grandiosity.
I guess it brings up the question of should you bring it down a scale on a budget like this? But
Yeah.
if you're going to do it, well, they got a couple of decent shots of what they needed to sell that to a point.
To a degree, yeah.
Yep. I actually like the bit at the bar fight at the start. I like when the sheriff rolls up and kind of the bloke's laying on the table and he just kind of leans over and he goes, "Would you like to file a complaint for use of excessive force?" No?
Yeah.
Everybody hear that?
Yeah, he didn't say
I was
anything.
like, yeah.
Yeah, that was quite a
I thought
humorous.
that was one of the few parts where you got a little bit of character out of these people.
Yes.
So I like that.
The bad guy tells the FBI that he's going to kill a hostage every 2 hours. And the FBI bloke goes, every hostage you kill weakens your position by 1. And the bad guy's reply is, every hostage I kill jerks your scrotum up around. up around your neck.
Yeah.
Fucking, how do you figure? Like, I've had one of those things for 48 years, and I don't think I've ever been able to get it up around my neck.
Not unless you've had the amount of plastic surgery that Mickey Rourke's had. It might be somewhere up there by this point. But...
His scrotum has actually been removed and placed around his neck.
Yeah.
I'm looking for skin, Jack.
Hugh Jackman style. I think it's. Yeah, it was a bit of a laugh at least.
It was a laugh, but it was a ridiculous comment.
Ridiculous.
Oh God.
Roddy Piper, look, he's not an actor. I wouldn't class him as a quality actor, but the wrestling background,
he sells.
Yeah,
some
he
shit.
just gets that raving tone about him sometimes, and it's cheesy and it works for this shit.
Well, the fight between him and Don, it's fucking ludicrous and over the top, and it's got a lot of like banging people against, like a Royal Rumble. Like he's banging him against things and stuff.
But it's as close as we get to a decent action.
Yeah. And I had to laugh when the scalding fucking steam hits him and he's like, this shit keeps me warm at night.
Yeah. And that's the part that works. Even when his lines are kind of shit, at least he's delivering what you want him
he's trying to deliver.
Yeah.
It's pantomime stuff. So it's not great performance or anything, but it's better than anyone else in this film.
Yeah. He can get away with that. He can get away with like.
Well, we know he's a wrestler. So we know that we're kind of getting that kind of over the topness.
Yes. And another part where that works is where the henchman's hanging off the bridge and he's, fucking looking for help. And Roddy fucking steps on his fingers and goes, fucking fight him or join him. Just kind of walks off. I thought, okay, well, this is what this movie needs more of.
Well, why did you just have... Why did they need to have Piper as like Mr. Joshua? Why didn't they just have him as the fucking villain?
Oh, they should have.
He would have been far more useful.
Well, you'd prefer him to be on screen more than the other bloke.
No.
Because he was not. The other fella wasn't great. Yeah.
Do you have any other likes?
I do. In the twists and turns and shit, spoiling as usual. The one part of the twist that works for me was the sheriff.
Yeah.
When he gets back in the car. And the sheriff's like, I didn't fucking want to kill you or whatever. When he figures it out.
Yeah.
That worked because you'd already had one of his friends turn.
Yes.
So I wasn't even thinking about it. Admittedly, I was fucking thoroughly disengaged by that point.
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking about it. The point stands.
I was so disengaged. I was like, holy shit, they got me. Yeah. I was a bit
I think it would have worked anyway because
I was a bit the same. I was fucking on the couch drooling by the time that shit came up.
Because he was fighting the same kind of, he was going against the guy that Wilson's character had the shits with early.
Yes.
And we already had the twist from inside the circle.
Yes.
So I wasn't expecting it.
Okay, fair.
So that was fair enough.
Okay.
That was it.
Dislikes?
Oof.
It looks so cheap.
It does.
Even worse than Cruel Jaws.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's cheap.
Yep.
It fucking looks terrible. Like, as you said, they play a lot of close-up shots. They're trying to hide the budgetary issues, but it's not working. It just looks so bad. And partially because you're trying to fucking say that the Hoover Dam is where your hostage situation's happening.
Yeah. Well, they show you a shot of the Hoover Dam, and then they keep showing you this little like security shack. It looks like a boom gate fucking stall.
Yeah.
But they shoot it low with the people there, so you just get that and the sky.
Yeah.
And it's like, we know you're not at the Hoover Dam. And then when Donnie's running down the hill, the thing of rocks, it's like you've just found the closest pile of rocks to your production offices and run down it. I mean, it's just, I get it, but if that's your budget, fucking reconsider it being the Hoover Dam.
Correct.
Maybe it should be a fucking dam on someone's property. Like, there's not much going on there.
It doesn't make sense to use. No, it makes sense to use the Hoover Dam from a perspective of like a big ticket place that's being held up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense in the sense that you don't have any money.
That's right. I mean, like, not necessarily a good movie, but Transformers. You've got a massive budget.
Yeah.
So you can use fucking digital effects of Transformers fucking climbing the Hoover Dam and shit like that.
Yep.
This didn't have that budget. So you couldn't even show
And look,
you couldn't even show your lead actor at the Hoover Dam.
I mean, this is the thing. Transformers, you probably grease a few wheels and you get to actually shoot at the Hoover Dam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don the Dragon Wilson film gets told to jog on.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys can fuck off.
Unless they do it in the old
buddy, guerrilla style.
The guerrilla style, race onto the Hoover Dam, get two blokes fighting each other, and then piss off as quick as you can. Like,
Yeah, what? Do that shit.
yeah.
It would give it some fucking pep to know that we were actually there,
Yeah.
shooting on location. Acting is very much a mixed bag. I can't put Roddy Piper as a like, but I can say that he's far better than anyone else.
Yeah.
He actually brings a little bit of sort of steam to his role.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor old Don is not much of an actor. He's got nothing to work with, but he's not a great actor.
No.
The villain was just shocking. Like, holy shit. I don't know what he was trying to do. And they kept trying to go with this whole thing where he just randomly shoots people to
Yeah,
show he's kind of
yeah.
like, I'm in control. No. He was just really bad.
Yep. I would agree with that.
Direction, fight choreography, editing, just none of it works.
No.
Everything's
not
a
all of that
static
can
shot.
be blamed on the budget.
No, everything's a static shot, so not much is happening. The camera's not fluid at any point, probably because you're trying to shoot around the fact that they're not at the Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
But once you got underneath the dam and you're in all those caverns and that,
Yeah.
let's get fluid. Let's move the fucking
Yeah.
camera a touch.
Yep. Agreed.
There's some editing fucking problems. Like, there's a blue at the start when they're in the bar.
Yep.
And Don starts teeing it up, kicking it ass. Next thing you know, we edit to the bloke sitting at the bar drinking a beer, and then we fucking come back, and Don's towed the guy's ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Are we covering up budgetary limitations there again?
I don't know. Well, Don could get his foot up around someone's head.
Yeah, yeah. Of course he can. He did
Jesus
it.
Christ.
The editing too. You mentioned there's one particular one. I think it's during the Roddy Piper scene. We cut away to. I think we check in with the villains very quickly. We end up fucking standing there with two blokes talking about how they're going to spend the money from this fucking heist they're pulling.
Yeah.
And we barely see these guys for the rest of the movie. What the fuck was why are you doing that?
Well, there was no point in talking to them. Who the hell were they? The other problem too is, and I'll give you another a strange editing decision. We open the film with the bad guys kind of running through their plan, but then we edit away from that and go to Don, introducing Don to us, then edit back to them again.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
But don't we also have? Oh, I called it the fucking the meeting of the council of exposition, like fucking
those
three
guys at the
blokes
start.
talking about the plane or
Yes.
something.
But where was the plane?
I was disengaged immediately as soon as they started talking. But again,
But where was the plane?
well, that's what the thing was all about. In true Die Hard fashion, Hoover Dam was a
cover.
was a decoy, and they were fucking pinching the fucking plans for the plane or something. Oh fuck, mate, I didn't follow.
Disengaged.
I was disengaged. I was fucking.
But I love the fact that these movies are always about military fucking weapons that are getting stolen and shit.
Yeah.
And it's
But
just three fat guys in fucking military
It
uniforms.
goes for 5 minutes because
Yeah.
it has them. Then we go to the villains, as you said. Funniest part of the movie, just about when one of them pulls out a large toy car to represent the convoy, and then we cut to the convoy. But then, as you said, we go away, and then we come back to a voiceover of the villain continuing to spout his
But
plan.
we've introduced Don in between all this.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Finish up the villain's plans and then introduce Don.
yeah. Or
It's
don't fucking have
fucking
them chatting that long.
Filmmaking 101.
Yeah, it was so cut rate. And also, they did it later on too, where they had the news reporter delivering. Oh, for some reason, she was wearing a fucking giant trench coat. She starts talking. They don't have anything representing news. They don't have a They don't have a fucking a mark.
logo?
They don't have a logo. It's just literally a static shot of this reporter giving us a bit of work and then never seen again.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck,
Fucking ridiculous.
come on. It's not that expensive to throw a News at 9 or something, on top of that shot.
KTWY or some bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Ridiculous.
It's the same at the start too, where they they edit in some shots that are going to happen.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah. Somewhat.
Absolutely staggering.
Staggering.
Like that is inept at the highest level. There is no need for that.
Yeah.
What, are you giving us a fucking trailer beforehand?
Yeah. But Adam, they also do it
goodness.
They also do it with flashback. I mean, fucking talk about padding. We have Don and his missus fighting in between the villains. And then we have Don standing out in the wilds, and they replay almost the entire fight through like echoey vocals and a couple of flashback shots. I mean, it's almost the whole thing again. It's like, okay, we get it. He's fucking pondering.
We saw this fucking
saw
2
it 2 minutes ago. I just, like watching it.
And
I was
it
just like,
didn't
what's
get any
going
better.
on? No, it didn't.
Second time
It didn't.
around.
But then also, that's when his dad rocks up and he drops. Grandfather Eagle Claw said I'd have a special moment here, so I can't leave now. And I was thinking to myself, that special moment is not this movie, Don. You should leave now.
Also, I don't think Don should be associated with Eagle Claw.
No.
Because
As far as I know, he's not Native American.
Yeah, as far as I know, maybe I'm wrong. But I also kind of got a hint maybe of that with Piper. He still had the black shit around his eyes and he had the hair.
I'd hope not.
Beat it up. I don't know what they were doing there. I mean, I
not.
hope that they weren't going down that route. But why the fuck has he got that black shit around his eyes?
I laughed when he whipped off the sunglasses that were covering the war paint. I mean, it was, he's got the sunnies on, whips them off.
It was unbelievable because it whips it off really fast. It's like, oh, man.
That's not a good reveal of this, if that's what you're going for. Yeah. Poor work all round.
There's moments where they're trying to give character to Don. Like his girlfriend's pregnant.
Yeah.
And she's leaving him. And Don he's just not equipped.
But it's also not there.
It's not there, but Don's not equipped either.
He's got so this is the big part of the Die Hard thing that they didn't do that they probably should have. They didn't have him connected to anybody. They didn't have a radio and him talking to anybody.
He gets an earpiece.
He gets an earpiece, but that's not enough. And so his wife they have that fight. I'm leaving you. By the way, I'm pregnant. And then
see ya.
yeah. And then she's just seen for a couple of shots. Never talking to him until we get back to the end of the movie. She's never
in danger either.
No, there's no. Like even just chatting to him, even having a scene. Again, you're probably going to bring up that Don may not be equipped for this, but why not have her on the radio when Don thinks he's not going to get out and does the Bruce Willis, tell my wife, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Nah.
No, don't worry about
we
that.
must have paused Die Hard during that sequence.
Yeah.
Forgot all about it.
Yeah. But yeah, they were missing. I thought that's what the sheriff was going to play. I thought he was going to have a little bit of that Al Pal kind of.
But no, he was playing cut rate Sammy Jackson. As I can tell. I can froth it at the mouth every 5 minutes and yelling and shit. Now, the main bad guy seems to wear a flak jacket that looks like it should be used in a game of Northern Crosses. It's got fucking 6 panels on it.
Right.
As soon as he walks out, I was like, look at you. Ridiculous. And then he does.
And then he spoke.
But he does something that this was a bit I just couldn't quite wrap my head around it. He goes, my demands are 25 million squid, which I thought it's a touch low. Okay.
A little low.
You're hitting the Hoover Dam, right?
Yeah.
Let's jack it up a little. 100 mil.
Yeah.
But then he follows up with a sexy photo of Madonna. And I was like, well, to find that, because Madonna had a fucking coffee table book.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you not buy the book? Like, That was freely available. Head down to Borders, mate. You'll find it. You'll find it down there.
It was even in a steel cover. Well, so I was told.
Allegedly, Adam.
But also, she'd made body of evidence in '93.
Yeah, of course.
You had a fucking fair cavalcade of that sort of shit if you needed it.
Yeah.
You didn't need to ask for it.
What I got out of that was they were really pushing hard for this guy to do his best Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
And it was just not there. It was not there. I was sorry to bring your name up, Alan.
Alan Rickman would be rolling in his grave going, what the fuck are they doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was of course English.
Yep.
So they were kind of going with that sort of non-American bad guy, and
Yeah.
he was supposed to be kind of like sophisticated, yet he was not sophisticated in any way. I mean, anyone who's asking for fucking horny pics of Madonna as part
Yeah, well,
of
sophisticated people would have walked into the bookshop and gone, "Oh, what's this?
Oh,
Madonna."
sex. Oh, yeah, I'll buy a couple of these of Stephen King. Oh,
Yeah. You sneak it into your pile, but unfortunately, it's about 5 times as big as everything else.
It's like when you're buying dingers when before they had self-serve. You had to buy
A bottle of Coke, barbecue shapes, packet of condoms.
Yeah. I used to go with bag of apples.
Bag of apples.
Bag of apples.
What, did you think they thought you might be carrying your apples in?
I wanted to show I was eating clean. Holy shit.
Bag of apples.
Bag of apples, bottle of Coke,
Half a kilo of Devon.
No, a kilo, Jared, not half a kilo. Kilo of Devon, packet of Fraggers, maybe some chocolate.
You really want to throw them off the set.
And what you would do is you'd group them together so the dingers were in the middle.
Yeah, not at one extreme.
Yeah, because if it was at the front, you'd look like a real scumbag.
Yeah.
They'd go,
Perfect.
and you'd just be like, they're not mine. The previous guy left him here, but I'll take him.
Yeah, I'll catch him on the way out. I think I just saw him in the car park.
Oh, no, I didn't pay for him. I will.
That's all right, I'll cover it.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, the bag of apples, they must have thought you were trying to throw them off the set. Maybe have them thinking, oh, he's taking his apples to work. You know, he throws them in the bag, but he wraps them in a condom first to keep them fresh.
No, what I was going with is, if it's a bag of apples, they won't think of me as a scumbag if it was a hand of bananas instead.
Yeah, well.
He's a hand of bananas and some dingers. Like, that's fucking not on, Jared. Like, you got to think about these things.
Of course.
Oh, God. Stop. I know that his dad is a hostage, which is never fucking used very well at all. You know, like they chain him up to the bomb or whatever, but that shit is just so fucking boring.
Yeah.
But he pesters the FBI agent while he's on the phone. He's fucking going, now come on, my dad's in there. The FBI guy's on the phone. And I'm thinking, this isn't the way to do it, Don.
No.
You're not getting anywhere like this.
And that guy hates you.
Gets
We've
him in
already
a
established
headlock, man.
it.
Gets him in a fucking headlock.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Now, he just happens to get into the Hoover Dam via a perfectly placed hole.
The tunnel at the local quarry by the looks at him. Like, it's just, and it's the funny part is the
Wouldn't that have been the best way the bad guys could have come in too?
Yeah. But then his mate also goes, oh, he's the only one that knew about the hole or whatever. I'm like, okay, like we've got this one guy.
Is he the only guy who played near that pile of rocks?
Yeah, that
when he was
has
a
a
kid?
tunnel that leads into the Hoover Dam's inner workings.
Well, the Hoover Dam's got security issues.
I was
if that's
gonna
the case.
say, yeah, they've probably tightened that up. They've fucking covered it over.
Yeah, you would have thought. You would have thought. I mean, Don, he was supposedly a child when he was doing this.
Yeah.
The one-liner, that's a dream catcher, after he knocks the bloke out. Don. No, mate.
Again, not his fault.
Not his fault, but, I mean, would Don have had
Assuming
enough
that
clout
was
to say
written-
maybe we should rewrite that?
Yeah. On second thought, maybe rewrite my ethnic background in
Yeah.
this.
Actually, thinking more about it, let's rewrite the whole thing.
Yeah.
When he gets captured, there's a sequence where he kind of gets caught by the guy. He's just bashed the guy's head against a steel girder, and then the guy comes up behind him, puts the gun to him,
Yeah.
and they walk out. And then suddenly, old mate, the guy who's had his head fucking bashed in suddenly comes back to life and wanders out again, then falls over. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a ruse so he could get back in control.
Oh, the action overall is just. I know we've sort of spoken about it, but I think at one point I clocked 40 minutes between Don laying a hand or a foot on someone.
Yeah,
That's
easy.
just unforgivable. Like, unforgivable. You've got a 90-minute movie and you let 40 minutes go by
Mate, you need
without
to take...
a world champion kickboxer fucking kicking somebody. I mean, he should be kicking so many people. He comes out and his feet look like he's just run a fucking marathon.
Fuck yeah. An ultra marathon.
Yeah.
Like, he should be putting foot to ass from second one.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
take the Walker Texas Ranger angle.
Yeah, because
Every 10 minutes, Chuck's got to towel someone up.
Exactly. They kick off with, like, those guys running into the Hoover Dam and overtaking it, which, again, is just, it's utter rubbish. It's just...
There's like
It's
four
just
guards.
shots. Well, it's just shots cut together of nameless, faceless
Goons.
heroes and villains firing. You just get a shot of someone going bang, someone else going bang, someone else going bang, and then we kind of go into, oh, well, they've taken it over. And I was just like, okay, well, we've established there's a lot of people there. It feels like Don takes out about 4. Like,
Yeah.
it should be.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot of damage, does he?
No. So it's just, yeah, I can't get past how you don't do that. I mean, I couldn't care if it's a 90-minute film. I couldn't care if the plot was so thin that I didn't know what was going on, but Don's fighting for fucking 70 minutes of
Well,
it.
put it this way, Jared. If I disengaged fucking 2 minutes in, at least watching Don put his foot up someone's ass would have re-engaged me briefly, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
So
That's
bring
what was
me
needed.
back.
Yes.
Bring
Yeah.
me back to the to where I feel comfortable.
Mm.
There's a whole thing. There's a sequence that I couldn't stop laughing at. Is the bad guy sort of getting the shits with Webb? He's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
banging him from one side of the fucking hallway to the other. It was like something out of bloody the wrestling
Yeah.
game. Like he's just bashing.
Yeah,
him this
let
way.
Roddy do that.
Yeah, that's up to Roddy, mate. That's Roddy's bag.
Yeah. But also, like, I think that was around the similar stretch where Don's character runs into Webb and kind of
Yeah.
you know, we get the double cross kind of part. And he whips out, I'm not dumb, Harper, I'm dyslexic.
What the
And
fuck's
I
that
just
got to
thought,
do with it?
What are you talking about? And then, of course, that comes back
Oh yes.
at the end when he writes the password in his own blood, which actually was, you know, that's not a bad idea that he's fucking dying, but he writes it in his own blood. But he literally writes it backwards. And I'm like, fucking hell. Like,
Dyslexic,
Really?
Jared.
that was bad. Like, what made you think that this particular movie was the place to bring dyslexia in and have a take on that? Like,
This was not the place.
not the place. Not the place.
But also, did you notice that Piper says something about it's personal?
yeah,
but
because someone
what-
else had the face paint on.
Yeah, but was it his brother?
I didn't get it.
I did not
assumed it was
pick
a
it
family
anything
member.
up.
I
At
assumed
all.
it was a family member, but unlike the rest of the movie, I didn't have someone coming over the radio going, "You and your brother will go in together."
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
But also, if it had been Jake the Snake Roberts, I would have assumed, yeah, they're brothers.
yeah.
But no, I didn't get anything there.
No,
Like,
I didn't get
and
it either.
Piper's screaming like a lunatic and
So
saying
much
it's personal.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is it personal? Just another nameless thug.
Correct. It was just a face paint. We were supposed to take something out of that. So that's what I went with too. I was just assuming it's a family member, but yeah, I didn't really get it. What about when Roddy fired the rocket launcher before he said that? Just before he did that, sorry, and he goes, "Let me show you how to really bend somebody over." Okay, Roddy, cut. Try something else.
yeah. Let's go again.
You know how you came up with the fucking kicking ass and chewing bubble gum. We want something along those
Something
lines.
more in that realm, mate. Not bending people over. Not good. You know, I'm going to come back to the sheriff, Jared, because you said that you were taken by surprise by the sheriff.
Yeah,
and I was to a degree. But I think there's a sequence where he does walk into his office and say something to another cop about something or other. Again, disengagement was rife at that stage.
At that point, all that came out to me was just like, I didn't know what was being said. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, fuck. You can't tell me, like, you've watched other Don the Dragon Wilson pictures.
Yes, I have.
Right? So you're
he's
more...
done better than this.
He's done better. Significantly better?
I would say.
Where would you put him on the scale?
So
is he below Gary Daniels?
What? Well, in fairness to Daniels, I've probably watched more Wilson. Not recently. I did watch a few back in the day when you were hiring at the video shop. I hired a few Dragon Wilson ones then. But just recently, obviously, I've watched the Blood Fist movies. All of them are better than this. All of them.
And they're pretty schlocky, right?
Yeah. Some of them, they go through a varying degree. I think he plays the same character for the first two movies, and then it's a different character every other movie. But it was made by Roger Corman, and Roger Corman knows what this guy can do. So
Corman knows exploitation,
hand to hand.
And this is exploitation, like martial arts.
Blood Fist 1 was essentially just a Bloodsport ripoff.
Yeah.
But hey, this guy's a world champion kickboxer. I'll watch him do that.
Yes. Well, that's our target audience.
Yeah,
that's
but
who we
there's
want to
other
pick up
ones-
the videotape.
There's other ones in there where they put him in more of the situation where, there's a few guns involved and things like that. Like one where he gets caught up in kind of the mob sort of situation.
No,
but he still gets the chance to do the fighting.
You can't put
mix it in
Dragon
a little
Wilson in
bit.
that type of stuff.
No, well, if it's Blood Fist, you can.
You can, okay.
I got no problem with these guys picking up guns. But if he's a kickboxer and that's his number one skill set that you have him in the movie for, he's got to fight a number of people in between those gun situations.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And it has to happen regularly.
Yes.
Right? So you need to show us that this guy is someone that we want to see beat the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Right? Now,
I think next time we do an action movie, I might need to pick a Dragon Wilson one for you.
Okay. Let's not.
I'll do some research.
Let's not. Well, let's find out if there's a list of Don the Dragon Wilson's best films.
There's
got to be.
Yeah.
Google's full of that shit. Because surely that's not his best work.
No, hell no.
Right? So we need to see his best work.
Yes.
Did you have anything else?
Blood Fist 1. No, we spoke about the relationship with the wife coming back right at the end and how it's too late for that.
Yeah, can I come with you?
And the twist, I was just, by that point, I was just like, so you've finally kind of departed from Die Hard slightly. But everything else was just like, yeah, you followed it to a T pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. Right down to the letter.
Right down to how he kind of whips the weapons off his back in the final.
Yeah, but there was also something even said. Can't quite remember what it was, but it was almost exactly the exact same dialogue. It was taken directly from Die Hard. This was 8 years later.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Have some respect.
Well, have a bit of respect. Shit, we were up to Die Hard with a Vengeance by then.
Yeah.
That was it for me. I didn't find it. Christ, I think I've.
Yeah, I'm not going to kick it any further.
Yeah, well, Jesus Christ, we went right through that. But that is Terminal Rush. You can find us on Podomatic, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. Make sure you rate and review us on all the platforms. Keep an eye on our Facebook page to see what we cover next. But until then, take it easy, everyone. And we'll catch you later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.